5. Oh, I think we're live. Ladies, we're live. We are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the So You Think You Want to Be That National STEM Day celebration. Now, I just want to kick this off. I want to disclaim National STEM and STEAM Day is actually coined on November 8th. We are celebrating today because we typically do the So You Think You Want to Be That broadcast on the first Friday. And so I just want to disclaim, you still have time to celebrate. We're kicking it off. We're kicking off the fun tonight. That's what we're doing. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I can't wait to talk to Madame Miraculous. I am joined by my lovely co-host, Words Unite Bookstore owner, veteran author, fabuloso. I mean, this chick is everything. Mrs. Positivity, aka Ashley, and as usual, I'm gonna let her do her thing.
Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday, because it's Friday. Listen, I don't know if it's your Friday, but it's our Friday. And like she said, we are bringing in STEM, now STEAM. They brought in the arts. And we would like to continue to celebrate and educate about what this really means. And so we have amazing professionals on the line. And we are just going to celebrate in honor of the national holiday that will be celebrated on November 8th. We have a live celebration that we have been taking donations for since June. So if you are still in the position to donate, please do so right now. We're going to put it out, paypal.me /Words Unite. Wait, can you change that to not Bookstore, just Words Unite? I'm sorry, I wrote the wrong thing. But it's paypal.me /Words Unite. You can donate today, $1 or however much you would like. But those donations will go towards contributing STEM books to students who need them, and we will be donating those at the schools on November 8th. We're also donating 10 books to high school graduates who will be going into the fields of STEM. So we have a couple engineers, we have some x-ray techs, and we have some plumbers, we have some electricians. So we have a couple of individuals who are going into some of these fields that will be getting those career field books that we will be donating to them. So that will help them once they graduate high school and they go into college, that these are the professionals that they can connect with. So I am super excited to be here this Friday with these amazing ladies. I'm going to let each and every one of them introduce themselves in a little bit. We have a great program in line for you all. So I'm going to start with Tiffani. Can you please introduce yourself and tell them who you are and what you're about?
Yeah, for sure, but not before I get this correction on this PayPal me link.
Yes.
Boo. What we doing? What is it?
Hold on, guys. It's paypal.me /Words Unite. Just take the bookstore off.
Oh, take the bookstore off. All right. Yeah, so let's fix that first of all, and then let's go ahead and show that. So as you all know, my name is Mrs. Tiffani. I'm the head Imagiread of Imagiread. Head Imagiread is just a fancy term for program designer, right? Came up with it. I stuck with it. And Imagiread is on a mission to reach 1 million children with quality, culturally responsive literacy development programming, instruction, and ongoing support, preparing them for the future of education and the future of work. That's what we do. Next.
Tiffani with the I.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to speak amongst the people and some phenomenal women represent. My name is Tiffani Teachey. I am a engineer by day who decided to write a book to encourage more kids to go into STEM. So I'm a STEM advocate as well as a children's book author in STEM. What can I be? STEM careers from A to Z. Let me put my plug in. I don't even know if you see it. But and then for the most part, just encouraging more kids to see themselves in STEM, and representation matters, especially our girls and underrepresented minorities. And so just passionate about that. A TEDx speaker, international speaker, just came back from South Africa.
Come on,
so international TEDx speaker, as well as a radio host. I do have a radio show as well. So the sky's the limit to try to push the agenda for STEM. Thank you.
Yes, I'm super proud of Tiffani Teachey She just came back from South Africa. She collaborated with one of my other amazing authors, Jacqueline. And then you went down there and just went on a world tour with TEDx Talks. And so I'm super proud of you. And I'm telling you, as an author, especially in your career field, you have to be diverse. You have to think outside the box, and you have to be ready for the opportunities when they present themselves. So congratulations, Tiffani. I've been watching you. You know I'm your supporter. Her books do very well at Word Unite Bookstore. So if you're an author and you have a book that you would like to sell on this platform, definitely go to www.wordunitebookstore.com and figure out and click the link about joining as an author and joining this bookstore, because we do very well with circulating your books. So I'm going to, I would like Miss Madame to introduce yourself, please. Yes, you.
Yes, well, hello, everyone. My name is Madame Miraculous, and I am the quirky scientist featured in Madame Miraculous in the Messy Laboratory. This little funny story written by this woman named Miracle S.T.E.M. She thinks she's funny because she's picking on me because I had a rather messy laboratory. But ultimately, what my story does is to introduce, as you all say, the STEM to the young people, and also introduce some of the first lab rules. So yes, that's who I am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And for everybody that is tuning in, please go ahead and go to everyone's social media platform and like, follow, and share. So we had Tiffani Teachey. I think she's under author Tiffani Teachey on Instagram and Facebook. Madame Mysterious, you're under what?
Actress Miracle Sims.com or Actress Miracle Sims on social media is where you find me.
Actor Miracle Sims on social media. So please follow, like, share her information, as well as Imagiread on Facebook and Instagram, and then Word Unite Bookstore on Facebook and Instagram. And so last but not least, Miss Natalia, I said it right?
Yes, you did.
Yes. Wonder Woman of Aviation. I just met her recently. We did Wings over Houston. That was an amazing experience. I was one of the showcased legends and heroes, veterans who were able to meet the public and introduce who I am in my military career. That was a phenomenal experience, but I met some amazing individuals. And so I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're about.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is actually my first live, so woohoo.
Yeah, come on, girl.
I hope to do more of these. So I am an aviation professional. I've been in aviation since I was VA high. I like to encourage and promote the art of aviation through STEAM, so science, technology, engineering, and art and math, because I've always been a writer by heart, but I always wondered, where's my place in aviation? So I started to kind of make my mark into the aviation world and educate young women and young boys and girls that there's more than just being your traditional pilot. So just by incorporating different, elements, I did write a book, which you cannot see it, but it's here. So it's just basically introducing the art of aerobatics, just different components of aviation, and letting them know that there's a place for us that goes beyond the air. Oh, and I have a podcast too, Wonder Woman of Aviation, that highlights the history of aviation and keeps the history alive of warbirds and just anyone and everything aviation.
Most definitely. And so I definitely learned a lot about being at the air show. I didn't know how much of a huge, and then the safety aspects of what goes down at an air show and what the risks are for those who perform that experience. So that is amazing. And so I want to go down the line. So I heard engineer, I heard aerobatics, and Madame Miraculous is the messy lab. So I'm thinking that's chemistry. So I would like each and every one of y'all to explain in your field what exactly is your connection to STEM or STEAM?
Well, I'm a mechanical engineer, and so I decided to go into that. I actually went in undecided at UNC Charlotte. Didn't know what type of engineering, but I thought that was the broadest of them all. And so from there, I'm in the energy industry. And so I've been able to just anything that moves is mechanical engineering. And that's what made it where it's broad enough where I needed to see things. And so I deal with a lot of pumps, valves, piping, like all of that, and drawings and calculations. And so those are the type of equipments I deal with mechanical engineering. I thought it was the broadest of them all. So that's my tie-in with STEM, and decided to go into it because of the problem solving side of things. My mom and dad had my brother and I, he's a civil engineer. And so we would do math and science. And so that's what it got me into where the engineering part of it was as well. So mechanical engineering is where I'm at in the energy industry.
Okay, awesome. Miss Madame.
Well, my situation is a little bit unique because I dabble in a lot of different things. However, the main thing I would say is I'm in the edutainment side of the STEM industry. I do things like going to birthday parties, school assemblies, after school programs, things of that nature to, spark the interest of young minds to, get interested in science and whatnot. And so if we talk about that girl, Miracle Sims, that author of, who created me, basically, once the pandemic hit, she decided to, start self-publishing. She learned the art of self-publishing, and one of the books she wrote was about me, a character that she created. And yes, as I said, it's all about, as someone else already mentioned, I believe that she saw how important this was as she was going out and observing me, right, doing all these different shows and things. Just how important that was, like when she was young, and of course she's an actress, right? And so how important it was for her to see people doing what she wanted to do, and ultimately what the young people were looking at me, Madame Miraculous, doing what I do could bud those young minds. So that's what I do with STEM.
Beautiful, beautiful. I am very entertained right now.
Oh, well.
Wonder Woman of Aviation, aerobatics.
Yes, it's kind of unique for me as well because so we are part of an air show team. My husband is an aerobatic air show pilot, and I'm kind of the mind and brains behind figuring out, putting things together and finding out, teaching kids what is aerobatics, what does it look like when, an airplane takes off, like what are all the different components involved in making an airplane fly. So I, my inquisitive mind started to develop this story, and I wanted to ask these questions, and literally it's helping me learn to fly itself. So STEAM is a big part of me because it's the artistic side, which is writing a book and creating a comic book. It's in comic book form. So that's my tie into STEM/STEAM with aerobatics and flight.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I know moving forward, it will transition to completely STEAM. And so I would like Tiffani to go ahead and Tiffani to go ahead and do the STEAM history and timeline presentation.
Yeah, so a lot of us we are advocating for STEAM. We are looking. Sorry, my child is making
We saw them.
Like he just stole my iPad. Like, dude, I'm live. Anywho. Okay, sorry, baby. So why we're doing this, of course, Ashley is doing all of the work, boots on the ground to get the STEM materials. Tiffani is an amazing author. Everyone on this line is an author. I started off with my first children's book, It's Watertime Mom, which touched on proper hydration and conservation. And what we're looking at now is this has become an even realer conversation because as much as we're all invested in STEM, there's still a huge lack. So I just put together a few things that you might not know about STEM. And since there are 5 of us on the line, we're just going to play a little Did You Know? So let's just get this going here. Let's see. Yeah. Upload. All right. I'm just going to pick somebody. And I'm just gonna say, "Did you know?" That's Madame Miraculous's voice. It's in my head now. It's in my head. It was just, oh my goodness, what's really going on with Safari? Mm, mm, mm. Well, let me tell you this while I'm finding it. Did you all know that currently in the job market there is a 3.7 million job deficiency?
I did not know that. Tiffany probably does know that.
3.7 million jobs are like open. And when we're having this conversation, yeah, it's looking pretty grim. This is why this conversation is so important. Not just of the work I do readying students for basic literacy development functions and transitioning them to digital literacy, not just the work that Tiffany does and Wonder Woman does and Madame Miraculous does, Ashley does, Graciela does. This is the work, I often joke and say we were born too early, but this is the work that should have been in place, the representation that should have been in place decades ago, so that we wouldn't have this workforce challenge. Now, we may have had some other challenges, but not as gross as now. And so we have to do a really good job of indoctrinating our children and adults. Some of us, it's time for a career change, and what's out there is STEM. These manual jobs where you punch buttons, they're going away. So we need to look at how we can show up in the field. Some of us are older, want to change careers. This is all a relevant conversation. So I'm still looking for this slide, ladies. Like, it just airdropped, and now Siri is being.
I actually, when I did the TEDx talk, I opened up with with the numbers, saying million, and I start out with that. Millions of unfulfilled STEM jobs are out there. So yeah, the numbers are high. So I did.
It's real.
Yeah. So I did start.
It's real.
So yep.
Good, because that really does hit you. Like 3.7. I mean, even my middle son, he's currently looking for a job right now, and he's looking for, not a technical job, and can't get a call back. So it's like, what's really going on here? Got on a call yesterday with a major retailer that said, they are learning every day that the e-commerce environment is drastically changing, but they cannot keep up. Like, they just can't keep up. They're testing things. There was a story about how they had pumpkin flavored donut holes. They put them on their website. Well, within 5 hours, they sold 22,000. Wow. But they had only bought 10,000.
Wow.
So they had to go back because the server didn't recognize, they didn't plan for a lot of it that was automation, right? She didn't say it was talent specific, but I'd venture that it probably was talent specific. You think, okay, somebody would check, do we have enough to put this on the website? And I'm seeing that often where, I don't know if you guys see it, I may say, I'm searching for something near me, and then I'm calling and they're like, oh no, we don't have it. So yeah, we're going to have to do a much better job of indoctrinating everybody. And this conversation is so real and so relevant because, and this is the present future. All right, I can't find it, you guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read it. All right. So let's do Wonder Woman of Aviation. Did you know that the acronym STEM was originally coined to track how many people were moving from other countries to the U.S. just to practice those careers? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, fun fact for you. Like, it wasn't always an acronym. It was around the time that George W. Bush Jr. was in office. They wanted to track how many people are moving to America to practice in these fields. So yeah, they carved out those 4 disciplines and came up with the name STEM, right? Yeah. Number 2, let's see, Madame Miraculous. Did you know that STEM education has become a centralized focus for communities all across the globe?
Oh, yes. Well, I can definitely see how it's become very important it on the ground in regards to different schools and whatnot. It's very heavy. They had the after school programs and things like that. I'm glad they add the arts in as well, right?
Absolutely.
I'm thrilled.
Absolutely. we're going to talk about that with you, Madame, because even with acting, you know, we're going to talk about the emphasis of STEM and STEAM. Okay, so Tiff already did. We already talked about the career shortage. Well, let's see, Tiff, and I'm gonna do a did you know and tell us more. Did you know that STEM education really is all around us? Like, can you give me, like, look around the room right now? You're an engineer. Give us like 3 places where you see STEM happening around you.
So when I go into the talks, I show a video, and it talks about when you wake up, kids, when you wake up, you're brushing your teeth, chemical engineering. You talk about like anything around us is engineering. It's STEM, anything from science, from the chemistry, the biology, the technology, the computers, all that. Let's talk about the math. We got to use math, and we got to use science in all that we do. So anything we do is dealing with that, with all those type of tools. So I tell that to the kids. So definitely, when they wake up in the morning, there's something. When they go to bed, there's something. And when they're going throughout the day, there is something tied to STEM in some factor. So yes, I encourage that. So
Yeah, totally. And I think even for the rest of us, like as we move through the program, because we're moving through pretty quickly, time always flies when we do these, Ash. It's
I know. Like, where's the time going?
yeah, for real. Like we just got on. Like, but STEM really is happening all around us. And if Dr. Payton were here, she would emphasize. I talked to her earlier, by the way. She has a horrible cough, but she is feeling better. She has COVID. She had traveled. She got an early ticket from Thailand, and she picked it up somewhere. So just hold her in your prayers. But Dr. Payton will tell you this, like, you know, and I'm going to post this too. We had Dr. Payton as a guest on So You Think You Want to Be That. She will tell you that it is very easy to have STEM-based conversations with little ones because it really is all around you. And she talks about some of the practical exercises you can do with your children that don't cost anything, because people think, oh, I have to go get stuff. And no, you don't have to get anything. I'm sure you have something
Around. You know, we did a project the other day about making a egg float. You know, and all we needed was the water and the salt. Now, I had never done this before, but I saw the video and I was like, it has to happen. So we tried it a couple of times and it didn't work on different elements until we got into this one jar. But just the elements that you already have. Yeah, I had to sacrifice an egg because I love eggs. So I was like, dang, that's the one less egg I get to eat. But just to do that project, and it's literally still sitting at my table because I'm going to throw it away on trash day. But it was like those different activities. What people don't realize is kids have fun doing STEAM activities. You don't have to force a kid to do a STEAM activity. You have to force a kid to read a book. But you don't have to force a kid to talk about airplanes, to talk about flying, to talk about Wonder Woman in a costume. You don't have to talk to them about chemistry. You don't have to talk to them about engineering and putting things together in robots. Like those things, they're ready to do. And if we could get them engaged all the way through with the career path teaching that they need to get educated to complete that career and actually, you know, take some of those positions, they would go all the way. But we're so focused on getting a job, going to college, getting a job. Like these jobs could be filled in those careers that could pay them more if we teach them that, and to keep stimulating that. That's just my little spiel.
Well, right. I mean, I love it. You know why? Because now I want to. Graciela is sending me a message. I'm trying to do 5 things at once. You guys, thank you for your patience. She's saying, I am broadcasting. She needs to go to her room. So Graciela is still at the Houston Air Show. Horrible signal there. Ashley and Graciela and I, we were supposed to do something last Sunday. Didn't happen because of the signal. So she is en route to her hotel room. Hopefully she'll be joining us soon. But Madame Tiffani and Wonder Woman, I want to real briefly talk about this because Tiffani talked about this when we had her on So You Think You Want to Be That. So Madame Miraculous has this messy laboratory, and Tiffani used to take apart Teddy Ruxpin. Her and her brother used to take apart Teddy Ruxpin, right? So Wonder Woman talked a little bit about like, hey, I write, but I wanted to do this. Sometimes, and this is so important right now, because we even had this conversation about, you know, children who are misdiagnosed and they're actually artists or they're actually engineers and they're diagnosed for all of these disorders, right? Mm. When we look at messiness and destructiveness and being inquisitive, what would you three really suggest to parents about nurturing STEM and STEAM identity? What would you three say? Any one of you can go.
Hmm. That's a
I'll
good.
go. I'll go. Like I said, I talked about as we were talking about. My brother was that one who tore up the Teddy Ruxpins back in the day. I guess you age yourself because that is a teddy bear, and open up a teddy bear and put in a radio inside of it. So when you talk about a kid who's, you know, thinking, curious, asking those questions, I tell the parents, don't sleep on them. That might be your future engineer. That could be your future. And so it's just asking and just letting them ask those questions. Like when I have my book, it's just a starter. Like when they see the robotics engineer, those type of things can push you to start doing some activities, having those things and having the things where they're going to ask and go more and ask more. So I would say just continue to challenge their minds. The thinking is not a bad thing, even if they're asking why, because you just never know what they might. My brother became a civil engineer, so that destructiveness became something out of it. And so you never know what that child might could be based off of the questions, the curious mind. So let them challenge their minds and have the hands-on activities. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love
just
it.
to piggyback off of what she's saying there, exactly. I mean, I think it's just good communication to have with your children and whatnot. Every now and then, again, you might have the child that is, lining things up, or, they're taking things apart. All of those things are good skills, at some point in life, so you don't want to always, just shun the creative side, or the even though it can get annoying. Of course it can. Yes, of course it can. But I mean, I think with good communication of, hey, okay, maybe let's not do it this way, or, oh, why are you doing that? Maybe you'll get some understanding of what they have in their minds. Oh, I want to take it apart and put it back together. Oh, well, that's a good skill. Keep that. So it's all about, communicating and establishing rules. Obviously, my mother had to come and talk to me about that as well. Spoiler alert from the book. Okay.
I love it. I love it. Wonder Woman, what do you think in terms of nurturing that STEM identity and those career interests? The representation is huge. But what do you think, when you talk to maybe parents and they're like, well, like what would you say to them about STEM nurturing? Uh-oh. Is she froze?
I think she's frozen with her beautiful smile.
Smile.
I know, right? I'm like, I just thought she was fine. Okay.
Oh,
She's gonna come back, I'm sure.
Can can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I know with the design process, the engineering design process, we try to challenge them to think, and know that design it, but you're gonna have to tweak it. You might fail, and that comes with the thought process. So they might think they're always winning, but you have to always know that you might have to test it out. So those are the type of things where you go through the whole process, teaching them, you can do this, but you might have to tweak it. It might not work the first time. So doing those type of, like as Madame Miraculous mentioned about communicating with them, and just realizing that sometimes what you build and you do might not work the first time, but what can you do to fix it? What can you do to make it better? And having those type of conversations will help as well. So.
Yeah, the iteration and the theory and the practice of it all is very important. I always say this, I say it to all of my adult friends, that life is merely that. It's practice until it's perfect practice, right? And it's the same thing when we talk about the interests of our children. Everyone, and Ash and I've talked about this, we've said it, out loud. Every child will not want to go to college. Every child will not want to go to trade school. Every child does not want to do the 9 to 5 thing. It really is a noticing and communicating with your child early about all of their options, and just be careful of, recommending one thing over another because you think that that's going to be a thing. Like in Tiffany's case, civil engineering, the way, I mean, affordable housing is changing, materials are changing, so much is changing in the industry that we are seeing firsthand. Like, we need more engineers. We need those children, adults who can look at something and say, wait, we can do this better. with less resources and it doesn't harm the environment, right? These are the conversations that we need to have. Just imagining a different, better place. That is engineering. That's engineering. So,
right. And I wish they had like I wish on top of the STEM introductions that they do, because a lot of schools have STEM programs now, or a STEM school in the community that kids can apply to attend. I wish they would have an, after school or like after high school, after graduation hub where we could get, kind of like they do certifications for cosmetology, certification, not necessarily certification, but like experience and training in these fields. Because if they continue to get that education, hey girl, she's back. If they continue to get that education, it will help them to go to the schooling to get, the degrees that they need to continue in these fields. But during COVID, it was like one of those non-essential but essential things, especially on the technology side. It was an unessential worker as far as in the field, but on the screen and on the technology and in the technical aspects of it, especially in the chemical DNA, like them testing in the labs, everything. There were so many different aspects that had to work behind the scenes, which was important. And how many people created things during COVID?
mm-hmm.
Now, all of us were STEM active. We were STEAM active during COVID because we made our own everything during COVID, especially when we didn't have access in our area, especially when Texas had nothing but snow and we ain't used to that. And we had to learn how to live through that snowstorm and that ice freeze over. So, I mean, we're intuitive people and we will create something if we have to, and we will adjust and survive if we have to. So we're all using the skills, but helping get these kids in those fields so we can fill those seats that need to be filled would be a whole lot better for the community. So if anybody's listening and that has the positions to build a hub that will continuously educate and certify individuals to continue their education to get into these fields, I believe that would be a great suggestion.
I do too. I love that. Okay, so Wonder Woman of Aviation is back. I'm thinking something maybe some equipment died. Just didn't want it. Yeah. Telling you, these robots, they taking over. They like, nope, not right now.
I was trying to comment and then it just like cut me off. I'm like, okay then. No, just back to the STEAM. I don't know how far you got into off topic, but basically, to encourage, I always was an inquisitive mind and I wouldn't read your traditional books. I would read comic books. Like that was my thing. So, just encourage your child or whoever, there's different avenues. Not everyone follows the same path. Not everyone learns at the same pace. And just continue encouraging it. If they want to dress up like Wonder Woman, let them dress up like Wonder Woman. It's a form of self-expression and creativity, and it does wonders. Just encourage them and don't make them feel like they're weird.
Yeah, for sure.
What she said. Stop making everybody feel like they're weird. Some of these kids, they're expressing themselves outwardly, and we're killing it as a parent. And unfortunately, if we kill it inside, they're definitely going to not utilize it outside. So yeah, definitely. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of, and we know why. It's like some of the parents, it's like, well, you're not being practical. But right now is the best time to dream big. We need those solutions. As we're waiting for Graciela, we're going to move on to the next piece. Now, I did promise, and I didn't tell any of you ladies about this, I did promise that we were going to do some giveaways, and I am still going to do that. So if anybody is watching right now, whether you're watching now or you're watching the replay, all I need you to do is tell me if your career, and if it's a young person, tell me what you believe your career could be if it's STEM or STEAM related. But if you're an adult, just tell us what that looks like in the comments, and we're going to send you something extra special. Surprise. Yeah, we're going to do that. Surprise. I mean, along with the fact that everyone's handle is streaming at the bottom, it's ticking at the bottom, please make sure you go and follow everyone. We will have a gift guide coming out very soon. So each and every one of these wonderful authors will be featured in that gift guide. Please, please, please support small business this holiday.
Yes.
We are all very much aware of what's going on economically. Support small business, purchase books from those that you see here and others who are in the marketplace that are independent authors. It does wonders for that author and their family and community, So, all right. So let's keep it moving. I think the next thing on the agenda was Graciela, but she's not here. So
Well, we had It's True with Tiffani Teachey. What was that?
Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, Tiff. So tell us in terms of like your practical experience with civil engineering. Like, tell us what you believe. Some people think civil engineering is one thing, and we talked about this a little bit last time. But tell us what it really is, like what you do on a day-to-day basis, not just in your capacity now, but onward. Like, this is what I wanted you and Dr. Payton to do. So you're on your own.
Oh, okay. Well, clearly, I'm mechanical engineer because my brother's a civil, and so it's like
mechanical.
We get into it. Like, civil was the first ever with the pyramids, but me, I want it more broad. So, but day to day, you work with all different types of engineers. You all have to work together where I work, because you're all trying to use your practical, with what you stay in. So I deal with pumps, pipes, valves, different equipment, where I'm updating different parts of the plant itself. And so I might have to dress out. So I have to wear the safety glasses, just like you see on Madame Miraculous. Yes. Hers is fancy. I love it. But then you wear the glasses, safety goggles, and sometimes I might have to wear the lab jacket, if I have to go into the other room with the dirty, where it's not, it's chemical size, where that fine. So it just depends on, I might be in the office, I'm working remote. It just depends on the day. But all in all, I work with a team to try to make sure we're solving problems. And it does come with drawings, marking up drawings, working with a drafter, showing him what I might need to get changed. And so, as also with me being a female, African-American female, is in a male-dominated field, I might have those times where I might be the only one walking into the room. And I've had those type of scenarios too, because I'm all about representation. I've been where one time I've walked in the room and the vendor who deals with the equipment shook hands with everybody except for me. And sometimes we can get they might think I might be, and no offense to admin or one to take notes type things, but sometimes that is the challenge that I have to let them know. So on that day, I went across the table and said, by the way, my name is Tiffani Teachey. I'm the responsible engineer on the project. And, I think he didn't realize, well, I let him know, but he didn't realize, because we were the ones going to be deciding if we wanted to use his equipment. So you might have some of those days where you just have to sometimes show your competency. And I'm just as valuable and just as important and made it just as much to be in the room as well. And so sometimes those are some things I might have to deal with being in this male dominated field. And knowing that I might have started out with imposter syndrome. Sometimes you have those moments where you don't, should you be there? But you should be there. And that's the thing I have to encourage kids, especially our girls, that you can be it, and just know that I've got this degree. Nobody can take it away from me. And I earned it. And so just as competent to be in the room is one of those things I had to deal with, and I continue to deal with. And it's all about having a seat at the table. The quote from Shirley Chisholm, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Yes. And so I'm all about making sure, if we don't have a seat, you can make your own seat. It's another thing. Why I decided to do the book, and try to have the business and encourage them. So it's kind of ironic that I'm also as far as engineer, but I also have the creative side. So that's where the arts piece comes in, where, hey, you can also write a book. And so, it's just empowering to be able to encourage kids that they can do it. But it's true. And those are some of those things that I do have to deal with in the field itself, and why I still decide to be able to make sure that I'm representing and that I encourage more to be a part of it because I don't want to be the only one in the room. When you make it, you got to continue to uplift and bring up, and that's where service plays a role with it too, as well. So that's
No,
my
I
day.
love that. I love that because we see her now. She's together, but she's saying, "Yeah, I have to switch out. I have to, run a plant. I have to run machinery." Same thing for Natalia, Wonder Woman of Aviation, and Madame Miraculous. Like, chime in here. When you think about the representation and you think about, oh, this is all I have to do to get ready to fly. This is all I have to do to get ready to, prepare my space. Like, what are some truths that you want to share?
In regards to preparing a space, you were saying?
Just the space, not the discipline period. Like, what is something that people may not know about your profession and getting ready and presentation and seeing it through? Like Tiff talked about, yeah, I do all of these things, dealing with parts. I'm dealing with large space. Sometimes I have to change out. Sometimes it's equipment and machinery. Sometimes it's drawing and refitting. There are so many, because people hear mechanical engineer. It's like, well, what does that mean? Right? Just the same way I'm like, flying a plane. What exactly goes into that? Is it, you got your fuel, you have your, your equipment. Like, what are some of those truths? So we know you have a messy laboratory. What's the truth about the messy laboratory?
Well, in the book, the truth is that lessons can be learned from everything that I did wrong. That's the main thing there. With what I do, I mean, again, I know everyone's being so technical, and right now, because I'm so all over the place with what I do when it comes to science, I can't talk about all the, that's why everything's so messy, including my mind, right? But what I can, I guess, add into this is what you all have been mentioning, taking it out of my head and been saying all night. That basically, that, at the end of the day, yes, we know that the representation matters. And that at the end of the day, when I go to the various places that I go and I see the little faces, some that look like me. And, it's nice to know that, okay, well, at least they can see at least someone that looks like them, and like you all have said, it might spark that little seed in their mind to know that to think that they might not completely be like Madame Miraculous, but they can do what Madame Miraculous is doing, either one way or another, And so yes, hopefully, that's what I hope to inspire in anyone that comes across me.
Yes, and I'm definitely going to introduce my youngest daughter to you, Madame Miraculous. Hey, Graciela.
Hi.
Because this year, I know my youngest daughter, and she is so animated and she is a storyteller, and she tells the good news, which is being nosy and telling the business if you talk plainly. But if I hone into what she's really doing, she is an actress, and she can speak, and she can observe, and she can be outside the box. And so I'm definitely going to introduce her to you, and I definitely want to get your book. But being a character in general takes a lot of energy. Yeah. And you have to get outside of your own self, outside of your head, in order to articulate that, and then take away, what people are perceiving of you. So I am loving everything that you are putting down, ma'am. So you go ahead, Miss Wonder Woman.
Well, for me personally, I'm not a pilot yet, but I am going to work on becoming a pilot. So stay tuned for that. But for me, I think it goes back to the whole, just because pilot doesn't mean that there's no, like, I like the analogy, there's no room for you, bring your own seat to the table. For me personally, it was a male dominated industry. I would constantly get overlooked, and I made sure that you're going to see me. So, just because it's not the general path of becoming pilot or whatever, there's different avenues, different ways, like operations, there's different fields within whatever it is you want to pursue that are still, you can still be involved, but it doesn't necessarily have to be what society thinks. So that's my little contribution. It's, I find a way and I work around, and you will see me and hear me, but just in a different way.
Awesome. I love that. We are two women that seriously, aviation, Graciela knows my story. When we originally met, she was just like so near and dear to my heart because we talk about this all the time. I just knew I wanted to go to the Air Force, but I ain't know nobody black in the Air Force. So I was like, well, I guess I can't do that, you know? So when we're having these conversations, especially with Tiff talking about the representation for girls, you know, even with Wonder Woman, like what we're saying is as women, just as women, I mean, let's take race out of it because I don't even, that's another show. But as women, it's so important for us to follow our hearts and to do what we know we are capable of doing, you know? So I'm so glad Graciela was able to join us. Speaking of capability, she's running on 1 hour of sleep, ladies and gentlemen. Like,
oh, that was yesterday. Like,
oh, that was
last
yesterday.
night I actually died for like 10 hours, but like in 3-hour spurts at a time. It's just, oh my God. Natalia knows, like I was on the flight line again just now for the Friday afternoon performance of the Thunderbirds and like the show for the base community here at Nellis Air Force Base. And I really wanted to do the broadcast, just like Ashley and I wanted to do the broadcast.
Yes.
But, today there's not 200,000 people there. That'll be tomorrow and Sunday. But this base just has no signal. Like anywhere outside, you have to be in the room to get Wi-Fi. And so I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow to sell books and stuff because there's like no signal out there. But did you see the little video I sent to you, Tiffany?
No, I just saw the picture. I just saw the picture. I'm like, wow, were you that close? Like,
yeah, like we're like front row, like, there's nobody there. This is like the Thunderbirds homecoming. This is where they live. And so we're like right up against the space. And they didn't have a canopy. There's no table. They didn't bring anything out yet. So I'm like, dudes, bring the stuff. So I was just out there doing the logistics. Unlike last weekend when the tent collapsed underwater and it broke. That's what Natalia and I got to deal with last weekend at Houston. Like it rained overnight and there's like all this water. And then like I set up my books underneath and then I went, why is that so low? And then like the water's like right here. And so these guys are trying to push the water and I got the heck out of there.
Right.
And then the whole thing, like all these guys pushing the water came back down, broke the whole 20 by 20 tent.
Protect your inventory. So tell everybody about who you are, what you do in your books.
Well, when I'm not running around crazy on a flight line, this morning I went to a couple of middle schools. So my name is Graciela Tiscareno-Sato. I'm an Air Force veteran. Here's my hat. Just took it off because I've had it on all day. I flew on the KC-135s, the refueling tankers, for 10 years after graduating from Berkeley. So my short intro is daughter of Mexican immigrants turned first-generation college student, military officer, military aviator. And so what I did this morning is I went to a local middle school to the AVID program, to a couple of AVID classes, which is preparing these middle school kids to think about going to college, put them on the first gen track, and then just really sit with them and tell the story and listen to, I asked this question of how's your family going to feel when you tell them that you got yourself a scholarship and you're moving 1,000 miles away. And I actually put that question out there and I really make them think about that because apparently no one's really making them think that far ahead or like, and then there's a 12-year-old girl, a little Latina. She's like sitting in the front row like this. And she's like, well, I'm not a lifelong learner. I don't like to learn. Sitting in a chair, the whole 12-year-old attitude. I was like, how old are you? 12. I said, I really hope you change your mind. You decide that you want to be a lifelong learner because who are you in 30 years if you keep thinking like that?
Right.
So the representation, the showing up, it takes many forms. Sometimes it's these small conversations about what they think is possible. And then you see the variety of kids who think everything is possible, which is this many kids. And all these kids who are like, this kid in Houston last weekend. Okay. I said, what's your family going to say when you announce that you got the scholarship? And you go, he takes the mic and he says, my mom's going to say, ¿Estás loco, muchacho? Like, are you crazy? You're going to college? College? What? Right. So I don't know. I think that showing up is so important to have those honest conversations. And, aviation was how I did it. I got the scholarship, went to Berkeley. Halfway through, I got a chance to fly. Never dawned on me to fly. I'd only been on an airplane that summer when I was 20. First time on a plane ever. So I tell these kids, do you know how lucky you are to be out here on the flight line? Do you know how lucky you are to have parents that are bringing you to see all these airplanes and meet all these people that fix them, design them, put the weapons on them? You're so lucky because I didn't see any of that. right?
Mhm.
And so I think that's why I feel like I'm trying to reach as many as possible, because how many kids like that are out there? At the middle school today, they live 15 minutes from the base. They didn't even know there was an air show.
Wow.
So how much is it? It's free.
Right.
Just tell your parents to take you. I don't know. There's so much to do, but it's really fun when you get through. And it's really fun when the lights turn on. And I'll show you the book we just launched in Houston. This is the third one in the series. Taking Flight with Mama.
Yes.
So,
and it is, let's come on, let's not be modest here. It is number one on 2 charts right now.
The number one, the night that we launched it, it went straight to number one in the children's aviation book category, which is our primary category on Amazon. And it also made the bestseller list for the children's Hispanic books. And it's popping in and out of the top 100, as books do. But honestly, I only care about that in the beginning.
Right.
I only care to get the title. And the rest of the time, please don't buy it from Jeff Bezos. Please buy it from Ashley, buy it directly from me.
Buy it direct.
Partners, right? But on launch day, I want that visibility. On launch day, I want that bestseller status. And then there's always going to be people who are just going to automatically buy there. But so it's the third in the series. Let me show you the second one, Captain Mama's Surprise. And the first one is La Sorpresa. I'm sorry, Good Night, Captain Mama. And so it's a whole series in English and Spanish, inspired by my decade flying for the Air Force.
So does the 2 and 3, do they come with something, like 1 comes with a patch? Does 2 and 3 come with something?
They all have
into bag of tricks.
Yes. Patches and bookmarks.
Because this whole thing started with my son pulling patches off my flight suit, that became a thing. And to answer your question, yes, you've seen the patch for number 1. And so I'll show you 2 and 3. So here's 2. Here's the book and here's the patch. And then look at this. Look at this patch. It's so gorgeous. It's like identical. Look at this.
Oh my gosh, that is cool. Oh my goodness.
Big. It's like a 4x5.
I can't say it again. Yeah.
I'm just so happy that this one almost killed me. This is a fat 60-page book. And, talk about STEM. What's really important to me is what we include in the back. Because once they read the story, which is its own beautiful thing, I always want the learning to continue. So my son designed a fold your own stealth fighter jet origami project. Wow. 14 steps, and it's English and Spanish. Look. And there's a video tutorial, and this really gets them spatially thinking and following those spatial directions of origami. And a research librarian friend said, I've never heard of bilingual origami in a children's book. So Lisa Hauner up in the Oregon State Library System, she went and researched it, and she says, I quote, "I can find no instances of origami published in English and Spanish in any children's book ever before."
Wow, look at you.
It says, claim it as a world first until someone proves you otherwise.
Right.
So I am very proud of it because it is a beautiful design, and it's my son's. And he's now officially a creator and gets paid. So all in the family, keep the learning going. And, just whatever we do to open up the conversation about who flies, who's serving. Right. Yeah. And then that's a question I asked today in the AVID classes. Like, what do you think? Who gets entrusted to go to flight training? Like, what are some characteristics? I want to see if they think it's something they can do. Right. And they always say things like, oh, you have to be brave or you have to be an athlete. Well, that helps. But the number one characteristic is that you have to love learning, which is when I got that attitude. Right. But that's it. It's like, if you love learning and you can keep on learning, and you can prove it by going to college and finishing in the Air Force and the Navy, you'll say, here's a chance to go fly. But you got to master it.
We're so glad. Yeah, that's amazing. And Graciela is like a wealth of knowledge. So definitely follow her. Like I told y'all at the beginning, follow, like, and share each and every one of our platforms. So we got Captain Mama, but you got Gracefully Global.
That's right? My company name. Gracefully Global Group is an LLC, and it's the company.
Yeah.
And
Group, but it's Captain Mama.
On Instagram, I decided to do the whole thing. Captain Mama, Capitan Mama.
Capitan Mama.
So it's
Okay.
all together. Captain Mama, Capitan Mama, all together. That's my handle.
Yeah. So follow her on social media. Words Unite Bookstore. Wonder Woman of Aviation on social media. Actress Miracles. Say your own.
Miracle Sim.
Actress Miracle Sims.
Yeah.
Sim. That's what I was messing up. All
I'm
right.
going to screen grab it as it goes by at the bottom and just screen grab it so I can see all of your handles there.
Yes. Actress Miracle Sims. Thank you so much. And then we have author Tiffani Teachey. Make sure you follow each and every one of us. If you're looking for STEM related material, please contact any of us. We have all the information you need. You cannot say that you didn't know and you were not informed. We were here on the scene tonight giving you a bird's eye view of some elements of introducing your youth and yourself, because like they said, there's a shortage. And so you adults can get into another career, always learning, like Graciela said, transition into a new career. Like Wonder Woman of Aviation says she's still working on her, getting her pilot's license and flying herself. And she's already advocating on the flight line because she got us out there as women, veterans out there, and we're continuing to connect with each other and growing our platforms. And so definitely be like Madame Miraculous. I'm gonna learn it, but I'm finna follow you. I'm finna be a stalker about you for the rest of the week.
Well, I have Madame Miraculous Science, but I just stopped doing it there. I don't have. Actress Miracle Sims is more popular than the Madame Miraculous Science. So
okay, well, I'm gonna follow. I'm following Actress Miracle Sims, because if I can act like you and act outside of myself and to get confident more often in more areas, we can do so much more if we get outside of our shell. I can't just be this image. Just like with my blue hair, I ain't never had no blue, yellow, purple hair, but I was like, I'm not gonna be just this structure box Ashley anymore. Like I want to live to the fullest of my life. And I hope each and every person that's following and listening today, this is why we are here on So You Think You Want to Be That. Me and Tiffani created this platform so that we can tell the real truth about what we do and what access is available to different subjects. And we got to be real with it. We're all dealing with different things. Life happens. The internet don't work in one area. We're on the flight line. We're doing great things. Our books don't work. The internet cut out on us. We don't feel like doing it some days. We got to be one way today and another way the next day because we got to dress out. We're getting skipped over and not getting our hands shaken and we're in the room. Like there's so many different things that we have to face. But if you surround yourself by the professionals and the individuals who are continuously moving in those arenas, I'm telling you, get yourself all the way to South Africa like Tiffani did. I'm telling you, like to see her attachment to me. I always tell people who are attached to me, when you win, I win. I'll be celebrating. I was in Africa too. I don't care if I didn't exactly. I was there with her because that was one of her goals and she got to that. She reached it. And how many of you are setting goals and still trying to reach them? Get around people who are setting goals and reaching them and motivate yourself to get to reaching your goals too. So I already been to Africa. I done seen it with her and then I'm good. So it's just like, it's amazing. And to meet Madame Miraculous today, like you are really like blowing my mind because it helped me to see, you got to branch out. And even though, like I said, all week I've been getting different kind of feels and conversations because of my hair. This is who I'm going to be this month or however long these braids last. But it's really taking me outside of my comfort zone because I'm getting a reaction from more and more people that probably wouldn't have spoke to me if I was just plain me, So y'all keep being the great you that you are. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. Tiffani, you have anything else?
Yeah. I just want everyone we can do one at a time. I know Graciela joined us late. We're already over a little bit, but I want each and every one of us to just share one thing, anything you want relative to STEM and STEAM before we go.
Okay. I'll share what I shared at the schools today. It's something that I didn't really know how important it was, but this is the one thing. I asked the kids, do you already know how to go to college? Do you already know how to get scholarships? And they stared at me. I'm like, no, I didn't either. So what I did is I asked, how can I? How can I go to college? You keep asking people, your counselor, and then the answers come. In my case, my high school counselor's husband. Okay. How do I get money? Well, you keep asking, but don't ask people who haven't been to college because they're not going to help you. They're going to tell you not to go. They're going to tell you you're crazy because that's local. So I said, right now, like I'm asking the question again, how can I become a paid performer at air shows versus like all the craziness of this year? So last night, a person in contracting at the base gave me this incredible lesson on how to become a paid performer on military bases. With how can I, you can literally learn anything because the word can is in it. That means you can. You just have no idea how to do it. And you're asking the world to help you. That's the magic question.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I just quoted it and it's in the box. Okay, who's next? Who has something just as good?
Well, I'll go then. So I just want to quote Dr. Mae Jemison. I keep this on my heart and mind every now and then. Hopefully, it will encourage someone else out there. She says, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations.
Yes.
So yes, I just wanted to do that quote there because I believe that Miracle Sims would like that quote as well. But yes. Hopefully that's encouragement for someone. Don't be limited by that, and don't limit yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll follow that. So for me, I'm going back to the be weird, be random, and be who you are, and just embrace who you are and be comfortable in your own skin, whatever that looks like, and just be creative because creativity is. I'm a creative mind, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Can I show you how weird I am today? I traveled in my look at this pajamas I was gifted. I was gifted these Dia de Muertos like calavera pajamas, and so I've been running around with my Mexican Dia de Muertos pajama top and my Air Force hat.
I love
it.
I've
been like this walking intersectionality weirdness today. So
I literally was gonna text you like, what that is on your shirt. Okay, Wonder Woman, real quick, because I love it. It's beautiful. Like, tell me again. Be weird. What was it? Be weird.
Be random, and be who you are.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yep.
And I would say, just like my book with What Can I Be? STEM careers from A to Z. I always sign it and I say, if you believe it, then you can achieve it. And that's how I ended with my TEDx talk and just trying to encourage the kids that just believe it. Like I said, I never would have thought I'd be in, if you visualize it and if you believe it, then it'll happen. And then you just get in the right places. And I talk about it's important to have access, opportunity, knowledge. And if you get those exposure, I think that's what's going to help our kids. And so that's what I'm going to say is needed. If you believe it, you can achieve it and get all those things. I think you'll be able to be a part of STEM and STEAM. So that's what I have to share. Thanks.
Absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. Ash, you got anything?
Definitely. You already know what I'm going to say. I say this every time. Show up. You have to show up for yourself and execute. It's one thing to dream. It's one thing to see it. It's one thing to have access to it. But if you never execute it, it's just in your head. It's just in your house. It's never going to get out. And so definitely show up and show out.
Now, I will say this because we are all things positive, right? But we understand, just like Graciela said, that there are challenges. And what we just want to encourage is, resilience lately. Some of these trendy words are really getting on my nerves. But the reality of it is we keep pushing, right? And we keep, by just doing that, like Ashley said, we're showing up. We are making impressions on young people. And that's what it's really, truly all about. They're our present future. They're going to be left with this mess when we're long gone. We got to teach them better about how to use those critical thinking skills and really, really promote STEM and STEAM at a core level. So I appreciate each and every one of you ladies for not just being here, but being who you are, because I know how serious this is for all of you. And I just thank you. I can't say again, if you're joining now or joining later, we're going to have a holiday gift guide where each and every author will be featured. Please be sure to shop Miss Positivity's mobile bookstore. I always try to do this and she stops me. I'm like, it's the only veteran-owned, Black-owned mobile bookstore, right? Just like Graciela got the first one for origami. We talking about first right now. We don't only, so shop local, shop small.
Since I got here late, Does everybody have their book handy? Could we all hold it up so we could see? Because I didn't get to see Miracle Sims, and there we go. I would just really love for a moment, all of us hold up our books, and then let's get this little screenshot here, because I think this would be really, really fun.
Let me get my newest book.
Yeah, please go grab it. So yours is What Can I Be? STEM Careers from A to Z, and Madame Miraculous and the Messy Laboratory. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I don't know if you guys can see.
So when you're ready to hold it up, no, it's getting lost in the background.
Yeah. Might have to take
you put it right in front of your face. Put it like right in front of your face like this.
Let me see. No.
Yeah, you're getting lost. Can you put it like right in front of your face?
Okay, let's see.
There you go. Okay, now I can see it. There you go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, I got a screen grab. Maybe you guys did too. Thank you. That's beautiful. Oh my God.
So proud of each and every one of you. Thank you all, ladies. This has been amazing. Wish we had more time. Just that hour just flies by. This replay will be available via our YouTube channel, Imagiread. So please feel free to stop by and check it out. All of you share it with those who maybe weren't with us today, but thank you again for all you do. Let's keep being great. Y'all are pretty dope. Yeah.
Have a good night, y'all. Later.
Yes, indeed. Have a good weekend.
Thank you for hosting, ladies.